Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard again. And today, another time on Prepared, version 3.2. And today, I'm on a different plane than the last two times. Something of a little bit of our category, as you can see. I am on the Pilatus PC-12. I'm not really sure how you pronounce Pilatus, if it's Pilatus or Pilatus or Pilatus or however it is. You get the idea. So we are on the PC-12 here, which is a single prop, a single engine turboprop. It can carry up to 9 people plus the pilot. At least my version does. And by my version, I mean that I am again flying on the FSEconomy system. If you don't know the FSEconomy system, as I said in the last video, link will be in the description. Is a really cool system, even though it's a little bit old already, but it works very well. And it basically simulates an economy for the flight simulation, like a constant economy. It has that consistency factor, and it's also multiplayer. Even though we can't see the other planes in the economy itself, there are other players which influence themselves. So on this world, I own this PC-12 model, which is the November Charlie Oscar Papa Charlie, and it's part of my company Connect Air. It's one of the two planes I have. The other one is the 182, which I did show up in the last video. So, what do we have for today? First thing, very interesting. I got to work the whole first-person pilot walk thing, where you can walk around, which is really cool in my opinion. I haven't figured it out until now, and now it's working. So you can actually do a proper walk around once I get the controls working the way they should. So, as you can see, this plane is very nice. I do like this plane a lot. It's also very powerful, can go up to fly level 290, even though the recommended maximum is 260, which is also the setting in the pressurization, but its actual limit is 290. I wouldn't go above that because it goes pretty much to the red line of the pressurization, even though the engine can go higher. Anyway, here you can see it's a high tail airplane. Whoa. It also has the Switzerland flag here. It's the white paint. I don't have a special paint for my aircraft at the moment. Maybe, as I said in the last video, I'll get into that sometime. We also have here a little tank. And the lights down there. And that's the Carenado model, in case you're wondering. It's the Carenado model, which is, I like it a lot. Some people don't. But I think it's a pretty decent aircraft. It flies pretty well. Not very heavy on the system, which for me is always a big plus. I don't like aircraft that drop my frames too much or affect too much my performance. I like that smoothness. It's just the way I am. And you can see up there the two pilots, which, by the way, should be one of them should be us. But that being said, we'll now hop in, since everything is looking good. We'll now hop into the cockpit. So there we are in the cockpit. Oh, and by the way, that's Sao José dos Campos Airport, Sao José dos Campos, which is about 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers away from Sao Paulo. No, I think it's 100 kilometers away from Sao Paulo in Brazil. And today we will be flying to my company's base in Jundiaí, which I departed in the last video. Anyways, we are already loaded up. Today we have 2 passengers. It's not great since we can carry 9 of them, but as you know, the economy, some things we have to deal with. I have nothing else to transport here, so I'm just gonna take the 2 passengers. So we can close the door, and if I turn on the sound, there you go. Sounds always good. And we can start the engines, I guess. I mean, the aircraft. So first thing, it's pretty straightforward. Switch both batteries on. Cancel the caution light. Turn on the signals. So our passengers get ready for the flight. On navigation and beacon light. Then we switch this guy on, which is the standby bus. For some reason the checklist, I think it says it should be on, never really affected me, but I switch it on. Then we switch the pumps on before the battery dies. Ignition on. And then we hit the starter, and just like that the engine starts coming up pretty quickly. Can inject the fuel. There you go. Engine is spooling up. Just make sure, yeah, my parking brake is set. For one moment there, I thought, oh shit, I don't have the parking brake set, because it felt like it was moving, but no, it isn't. Now the engine is started, we can go to low idle. Once you can see the thing down there, yeah, there we go. Low idle. Then we switch on the generators. Switch this to Gen 1, turn off the standby bus, and we can start air conditioning and probes. At the moment it is 18 degrees outside, so I'm gonna put cabin heat on for the extra comfort, if you know what I mean. And then we can start the avionics. So here is another thing. Trick I learned, and it is about the panel state when you save a scenario, which is always a complaint I had. Every time I saved a scenario and loaded it up, a couple of things wouldn't really be the way I left them, and one of them is the two GPSs will be on. So as soon as I switched this switches on to the on position, they would power up but not power up, so they would just freeze in the startup screen and we'll have to restart them. So I actually found that if you go to the settings options menu over here, options menu, general, down here you have panel serialization, and if you switch this on, it actually allows the system to save all the small details of the panel to the scenario file and also load it. So as you saw now, once I start the avionics, the GPSs aren't on, so we can just switch both of them on. Next I'm gonna put VFR in here and put the VFR frequency, and here it's 122.8. No ATC today. 22.8. By the way, let me just check one thing real quick and I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. I just had to check. For one moment I thought I left for the traffic on from my last flight. So that would affect performance once we get next to Sao Paulo, which does have a lot of traffic. And since I'm recording, it affects performance even more. So I just didn't want that to happen. So we can now switch the pumps off, ignition off. I should have done that before, but anyway, we did it now. 22.8. Here we can click anything. There we have a small radar screen, so we can turn on the weather overlay and increase the range. Never mind, I thought it was 30 miles, it's 50 miles, so life's good. And now we can go to the GPS, and since we are VFR, we'll just go direct to our destination, which is Sierra Delta Juliet Delta inside the simulator, and Sierra Bravo Juliet Delta, and our departure airport is Sierra Bravo Sierra Juliet. But yeah, there we go, already in GPS mode. Just kill the message thing inside airspace. I know I'm on the airport. Turn the taxi lights on and yeah, we'll just taxi out here to the left side. Almost said right, it's left. We set our altimeter 3003 today, and I'm flying real time using Active Sky Next. I really wish I already had Active Sky 2016. Didn't happen, so I just live with Active Sky Next for now, which does a pretty good job. Also, as I said in the last video, I'm using FreeMeshX, which you can install unprepared to get more realistic terrain. I'm using ORBX Global with ORBX, the ORBX 3 thing, and vector lights, even though those aren't going to show up. It is a pretty short flight. It's about 60 miles. Should be pretty quick. And I don't think we need to go all the way to the end. We're pretty light today, so I just got taxi to the front here. Here's another thing that didn't show up on my other videos because I didn't use it. This little guy here is a throttle indicator. Since I use my mouse and keyboard for flying, hashtag mouse and keyboard for life, it's pretty difficult to judge how much throttle I'm giving the airplane. I use the mouse wheel to control the throttle, so it is pretty difficult to judge how much I give. Sometimes you give too much, too little. It's pretty difficult. So I found online this, let's call it a plugin. It's a pop-up window on which you install the airplanes you want. You have to go to the config files. I might do a video on that if you guys want. And then you assign a key and it pops up just a window, and it shows, as you can see, how much throttle I'm giving. You can see down here, engine coming up, engine going down again. So it works very well on every aircraft. The only aircraft I had problems with was the A2A aircraft, because they calculate things outside of the sim, including throttle and engine. So it didn't really work. It worked, but not the way I expected it to work. It actually showed how much power the engine is putting out and now not how much throttle I'm giving it. But anyway, as we are sitting here and I'm talking too much, we are cleared for departure. Landing control lights on, taxi lights off. Flaps go to the first setting. We don't need to pressurize the aircraft right now. Pressurization is off for departure in this aircraft. And we are pretty much clear to go. I'm gonna hand fly the airplane because why not? So here we go. Hide the menu here. And so power 50%. So the RPM comes up. There we go. And we set takeoff power. There we go. Airspeed is alive. Rotate speed is about in 10 knots. And there we go. Rotate speed. There we go. Positive rate. Europe. And this aircraft does really like to climb. So let's trim for the climb speed of 100 knots. And we are getting 2,500 feet per minute. Climb rate. As we are climbing out here, we can put this system on, pressurize the cabin. And shortly we'll get the flaps up. So aim for flaps up speed, trim it down a little bit. We can start our turn here to the GPS heading. And at the same time get the flaps up. And whoa, a little bit of turbulence here. We actually had, yesterday at least, I didn't check for today, we had turbulence warnings around the area. So I actually expect to have a little bit of turbulence today as well. And yeah, that's happening. We'll be leveling out at 6,500 today. Transition altitude in Brazil is 8,000. At least as far as I know, it's 8,000. I'm not a pilot, but I try to read the charts. So most airports show 8,000. I just assume it's 8,000. So we just crossed the altitude here. GG for that. As I said, the aircraft climbs very fast. And we're going instruments here for a moment. Power back to cruise power. And still climbing. Yeah, man, this aircraft just has a hell of a lot of power. It's just crazy, really. And it's very light, mostly today because we only have 2 passengers and about 1/3 of the fuel tank, so that isn't helping. Whoa, and yeah, thermals are also a thing at the moment, so gotta watch out for that. Trying to get back on the course here, also being a challenge. I'm just being thrown around like paper in the windy day, just like my homework in a windy day. but yeah, we'll get there. Probably should not turn off the seatbelt sign. It's probably a good idea to leave it on. I wouldn't like someone hurt at the moment because I probably wouldn't be able to do much. There we go, dropping again. It's also quite cloudy down here. I actually expect to be instruments at arrival airport. Because I live around this area, and over my head, out of the window, out the real window, everything I can see is clouds and more clouds and more clouds. Man, this turbulence is being a challenge. So, about my cruise settings in this aircraft, I like to have the torque around 30. There on the first clock you can see, which gives me about 200 knots indicated airspeed. Which at that altitude, actually in the flight levels, since we have less air pressure and the whole difference between airspeed and ground speed, it actually can get close to 400 knots ground speed. So it's pretty decent speed, to be honest. But that obviously only happens if you have a good tailwind. Like in a normal situation, it will go maximum 300 knots ground speed, and so on, so on. So, I don't want to bore you guys too much with this cruise at the moment. So, I'm just gonna cut to the arrival part when you get closer to the airport. So, see you guys in 1 second. Okay, so we are back again, and at the moment we are just 14 miles out of the airport, which is just about in front of us. We are still on a cruise altitude because we were quite low. Just one quick update, something I think it's worth mentioning. I forgot to turn on the yaw damper after departure, which is something that helps a lot with the turbulence and wind and everything. So yeah, I highly recommend switching the yaw damper on. If not before, just after the departure, the takeoff I mean. So you get a smoother flying aircraft. So now we start descending here. To a lower altitude, I mean. Lows. I almost said start to descend down, but I caught myself just in time. So this is our already known Jundiaí in Brazil. Not very far from Sao Paulo, as you saw in the last video. Just been filmed from another side now, with this very nice scenery that the ORBX plus FreeMeshX combo gives us. I like a lot. Okay, start slowing down. 7 miles to go. Airport is quite high actually. It's about 2,500 feet if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, and you'll be landing on runway 18. This airport only operates landing on runway 18 and departing runway 36 because of terrain difficulties and all that. So yeah, start slowing down a little bit more here. I have no visual of the airport, which isn't helping a lot, to be honest. So I'm just judging by the GPS. It's always great. Runway 18, it's straight to the south. That's one thing I know. I hope I don't miss this approach. Quite a shame if I did. Now let's get to landing speed here. Flaps down, step 1. Gear down. That gear down alarm. Flaps 30 degrees. Still don't see the airport. It's 4 degrees, put some power in. Okay, now I see the airport. Lows. Not exactly where I thought it was. GG. Okay. I thought we were a little bit closer, but yeah, 3 miles to go. Maintain 2,500 here. I probably shouldn't be doing a visual approach in these conditions. But it's a flight sim, we can do this stuff here. Have a little bit of fun, you know. Let's turn to in a bit more. There's the airport. I'm also using free scenery for this airport, which is an executive airport down here. Very nice scenery, but it requires the FreeMeshX or something. Otherwise the airport will be inside a hole. But I don't know. I would actually guess 200 feet down the hole, which isn't exactly ideal. Okay, there we are. Lined up perfectly. Sort of. It's pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Watch our speed. Ready. Foot's on the brake. So there. My neck hurts. Sorry. So just behind the airport you can see the hills I was talking about. So because of those hills, the airport doesn't really operate off the other runway.
500.
And that 500 call out is really loud. Oh my god. And I think I'm getting a cold because my voice is short. Engine idle, flare, flare even more, keep flaring, keep flaring. There we go. Horn the brake, horn the brake, horn the brake. Oh, made it. Whoa. Ah, just in time. So yeah, that's one of the quirks of this airport. You aren't supposed to go all the way to the end of the runway. Otherwise, you will be face to face with another departing aircraft just holding short over there. Because of this two-runway operation thing. So just taxi out of the runway here. Yaw damper can come off. Landing lights off, strobe lights off, taxi lights on. Flaps can come up. There you go. Flaps coming up here. And you can pull back to engines idle. There we go. Parking spot for me is just over there. I park both my aircraft. And yeah guys, so this was the short flight in the PC-12. I do hope the video wasn't too bad. You know, it's still improving my videos, so if you have any ideas, things I should improve, including my voice, yeah, I know I have to improve that, so don't have to mention that. Just give me a sec. I need some water. Oh man, it's really catching my voice. So, as I was saying, so anything I can improve on my videos, please leave a comment below. Go check out FSEconomy. And yeah, I guess that's it. So just arriving here. By the way, I think that's some pretty nice scenery here to be a free scenery. I am thinking about doing some online flying for the next video. I don't know what you think. Leave your comment to that below as well. So it's pretty much where we are parking. I hope I got the parking spot right. Kinda miss a marginal. I think I passed the point. Yeah, I just shut down here. So that goes there, there. Recognition off, view off, view off. Switch the ECS environment control system off, taxi lights off. Nav and beacon can come off. Switch off the GPSs and the radar, which now will stay off. Yes. That goes off. Kill the engine. So yeah, that's pretty much it then. Not much else to it. And I hope we see ourselves for the next time then. So, bye.